So you're 24 years old. You just got your first real job making about $55,000 a year, and your employer offers to match your 401k contributions up to 6. But here's what you're thinking. You know what? I'll start that next year. Right now, I need to save up for a new car. Maybe take a decent vacation. And honestly, retirement is like 40 years away. I've got time. And look, I get it. That decision feels completely reasonable in the moment. It's $7,000 over the course of a year. That's maybe $580 a month that you could be using for things that feel way more urgent right now. But here's the thing. That single decision, that 1 year of waiting, is going to cost you somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 by the time you retire. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm going to show you the exact math in a minute, and it's going to make you uncomfortable. My name is Terry, and I spend way too much time thinking about compound interest and why so many smart people make the same financial mistakes in their 20s. If you're someone who knows you should be investing, but keeps putting it off because it doesn't feel urgent, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. So let's talk about what's actually happening here. According to a 2023 study by Vanguard, about 38% of employees who are eligible for their company's 401k match don't contribute enough to get the full match. And for workers under 30, that number jumps to almost 47%. Nearly half of people in their 20s are leaving free money on the table. And I'm not talking about small amounts, we're talking about an employer literally offering to give you a 50% to 100% immediate return on your money. And people are saying, no thanks, I'm good. Now, you might be thinking, oh, okay, Terry. But a lot of people in their 20s are barely making ends meet. They've got student loans, they're paying rent in expensive cities. Maybe they're helping out their families. And look, I hear you. That's absolutely real for a lot of people. But here's what the data actually shows. According to a report from the Employee Benefit Research Institute, even among workers earning between $40,000 and $60,000, people who definitely have tight budgets, about 35% still aren't maxing out their employer match. This isn't just a poverty problem. This is a priority problem. So, let me show you the actual math, because this is where it gets really interesting. Say you're 25 years old, and your employer offers a 6% match, meaning if you put in 6% of your salary, they'll match it dollar for dollar. On a $55,000 salary, that's $3,300 you contribute, and your employer contributes another $3,300. That's $6,600 total going into your retirement account every year. Now, let's say you decide to wait just 1 year. You're 25, you skip it, and you start at 26 instead. Here's what most people don't realize. That 1 year you skipped doesn't just cost you $6,600. It costs you what that $6,600 would have grown to by the time you're 65. Using the historical average stock market return of about 10% per year, and yes, I know some years are up, some years are down, but over 40 years, this average is pretty solid. That $6,600 you didn't invest at age 25 would have grown to approximately $299,000 by the time you're 65. Let me say that again. 1 year of skipping your 401k match costs you almost $300,000 in retirement money. But wait, it gets worse. Most people who say, start next year, don't actually start next year. They start in 3 years, or 5 years, or they start but don't contribute enough to get the full match until they're in their 30s. According to research from Boston College's Center for Retirement Research, the average person starts seriously contributing to their 401k at age 30. That's 5 years of missed matches for someone who got their first eligible job at 25. 5 years of missing out on a $6,600 annual match. That's not $33,000. That's over $740,000 in lost retirement wealth by age 65. $750,000 gone because of a decision that felt insignificant in your 20s. So why do we do this? Why do smart people make this mistake? Here's the thing. Our brains are we're really bad at understanding exponential growth. Like, embarrassingly bad. There's actually a term for this, it's called exponential growth bias. When you tell a 25-year-old that their $6,600 will turn into $299,000, their brain doesn't really process that. It sounds made up. It sounds like one of those financial advisor tricks where they use unrealistic assumptions to scare you into buying something, but it's not. This is just math. Boring, predictable math that's been working the same way for hundreds of years. There's also something called present bias, which is our tendency to prioritize immediate rewards over future benefits. And look, this isn't a character flaw. This is literally how human brains evolved. For most of human history, the future was really uncertain. If you found food, you ate it now, because who knew if you'd be alive next month? But we're not living in caves anymore. The future is pretty predictable, especially when it comes to retirement accounts. Yet our brains are still running on that ancient software that says, enjoy it now, worry about tomorrow later. And then there's the sunk cost fallacy's evil cousin, what I call the future abundance fallacy. This is where you assume you'll have more money later, so you'll make up for it then. Yeah, I skipped the 401k now. But when I'm making $100,000 in my 30s, I'll contribute way more. Except that's not what happens, because when you're making $100,000 in your 30s, you're also probably paying a mortgage. Maybe you've got kids. Maybe you've upgraded your lifestyle. The percentage of your income that feels available to save doesn't actually increase that much. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Terry, I've got $30,000 in student loans at 6% interest. Shouldn't I pay that off first instead of investing? Look, this is actually a great question, and it's not as simple as some personal finance people make it sound. But here's the reality. If your employer is offering a match, that's an immediate 100% return. Your student loan is costing you 6. Even if you factor in the tax deduction on retirement contributions, the math overwhelmingly favors getting the match first. Think about it this way. If I offered you a deal where you give me $100 and I immediately give you back $200, would you say, no thanks, I need to pay off my 6% loan first? Of course not. That would be ridiculous. Or you might be thinking, but I need to save up for a house down payment. That's more important than retirement. And I get that impulse. I really do. But here's what most people don't realize. That 401k money is still your money. In fact, most 401k plans allow you to take a loan from your account to buy a first home. And even if you don't go that route, nothing stops you from doing both, contributing enough to get the match and saving separately for a house. But let's be honest about what's really happening here. Most people aren't choosing between retirement and a down payment. They're choosing between retirement and spending money on things that won't matter in 5 years. The new car lease instead of the used car. The $200 restaurant meals. The lifestyle inflation that happens the second you start making real money. Here's where this gets even more insidious. This mistake is invisible. When you waste money on a bad investment, you feel it. When you buy something expensive that breaks, you notice. But not contributing to your 401k. That's a sin of omission. Nothing bad happens today. Nothing bad happens tomorrow. You don't see what you're losing because you never had it in the first place. It's like climate change for your personal finances. By the time you actually feel the consequences, it's way too late to easily fix it. And companies know this. There's a reason why the default option at most companies is that you're not enrolled in the 401k. They have to opt in because they know that humans are lazy and we tend to just stick with whatever the default is. Some companies have started switching to auto-enrollment. And you know what happened. Participation rates went up by like 40–50 percentage points. Same people, same financial situations, different default setting. That's it. But let's go deeper on this compound interest thing, because I don't think I've scared you enough yet. So what do you actually do about this? First, if you work for a company that offers any kind of 401k match, you need to contribute enough to get the full match. Period. This is not optional. This is not a if I can afford it situation. This is the first thing you do with every paycheck before rent, before student loans, before anything. If you genuinely cannot afford to do this and pay your basic bills, then you have an income problem, not a savings problem. And we need to talk about increasing your income, but that's a different video. Second, automate everything. Set up the contribution to come out of your paycheck automatically before you ever see the money. This is crucial, because money you never see, you never miss. I promise you, within 2 months, you'll completely forget that your paycheck is slightly smaller than it could be. Third, every single time you get a raise, increase your 401k contribution by at least half of that raise. You got a 4% raise? Increase your contribution by 2%. This is called Save More Tomorrow, and it's brilliant because you never feel like you're giving anything up. You're just not letting your lifestyle inflate as fast as your income grows. Fourth, and this is important if you switch jobs, do not, under any circumstances, cash out your 401k. Roll it over to your new employer's plan or into an IRA. If you're not sure how to do this, literally Google it or call Vanguard or Fidelity, and they will walk you through it for free. They want your money. They will help you. Look, here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. Your 20s are the most important decade of your financial life. Not because of how much you earn. Most people don't earn that much in their 20s. But because of the habits you build and the compound interest you set in motion. Every dollar you invest at 25 has 40 years to grow. Every dollar you invest at 35 has 30 years to grow. That 10-year difference means the dollar you invested at 25 is worth more than twice as much by retirement. This is why I get so frustrated when I see people in their 20s making these mistakes. Because I know what the math looks like. I've run the numbers hundreds of times. And I know that the person who starts at 25 and contributes consistently will retire a millionaire even on a middle-class salary, while the person who waits until 35 and contributes the same amount will struggle to hit half that. And the cruel part, they're the same person, making the same salary, living the same life. The only difference is 10 years. That's it. So here's what I want you to do. If you're watching this and you're not contributing to your 401k, I want you to pause this video right now, open up your company's HR portal or email your benefits person, and sign up. Don't wait until Monday. Don't wait until next month. Do it right now. If you're already contributing, but not enough to get the full match, increase it today. And if you're already maxing out your employer match, first of all, congratulations. You're ahead of like 60% of Americans. Consider increasing your contribution even more. The 2024 401k contribution limit is $23,000. Very few people actually hit that limit, but every extra percent you contribute is buying you more freedom in the future. Because here's what retirement actually is. Retirement is buying back your time. It's getting to a point where you don't have to work anymore if you don't want to. And the cost of that freedom is determined by decisions you make right now in your 20s and 30s, when it feels like retirement is impossibly far away. I promise you, 65-year-old you is going to look back at 25-year-old you and either think, thank God, I got my act together, or why the hell didn't I start sooner? You get to choose which version of that regret you experience. If this video helped you understand why starting early matters so much, do me a favor and share it with someone in their 20s who needs to hear this. And if you want more videos about the financial decisions that actually matter, not the BS budgeting tips, but the big leverage points that change your life, make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next one.